Hey, greetings. Thanks so much for joining me. This is Karen Clay and the Feldenkrais Method. We're going to start a new series today called A Toolkit for Unwinding. So these are things that once you learn them, you'll have them in your pocket whenever you need a moment of downregulation, a moment of soothing and settling and calming. So let's start with our first lesson. Lengthen yourself on your back. Take a moment to sense how you're lying with the floor, where you feel the floor supporting you. Maybe check out the heaviest points of contact. So that might mean that you feel the weight of your pelvis and which part of the pelvis is actually touching and resting on the floor, and how the curve of the lower back extends above that place in your pelvis. And then sensing how the heels meet the floor and sensing how the skull meets the floor. Those are probably the heaviest points of contact. And then maybe you sense the tissues between your heels and your pelvis, the parts that touch and the parts that don't touch, and the parts of you between your pelvis and your skull, which parts of yourself touch there. And then please bend your knees and stand your feet. Bring your feet about hip width apart. Sense how the support of the floor through the feet changes the contact through the pelvis slightly. And let's begin with the idea of 2 marionette strings attached to each knee with just enough tension on the strings that the legs stand up without effort, but not so much tension that the foot leaves the floor. So just the right amount of pull so that the bones of the legs stand up all by themselves and the muscles can drape and droop around the bones. Now, the left marionette string is going to begin to give slack so that the left knee can begin to open towards the left. You'll roll on to the outside of the left foot until your leg is as open as is comfortable. If you have any discomfort with your hip, just put a pillow right under here on the floor to stop you from going further. Then the right marionette string will also start to give up slack. So the right knee crosses the body and follows the left. Both knees are to the left. You notice that they're slightly akimbo because you've maintained the space between your feet. You haven't brought one foot forward so the knees come together. You've stayed in the hip width feet position. Now the marionette string on the right side is going to draw the bones of the legs upright, all by itself, no movement in the left leg. And then to begin to open the right leg. At some point, the right marionette string is going to start to affect the left leg. When the right knee opens as far as it can, then eventually the left leg will also start to follow along. And so the left marionette string will join the movement and allow the left leg to cross the body over to the right, again with space between the feet. So just very slowly, with the idea that something else is causing the movement of your legs to open like a book and close like a book to the left, and then open again like a book. You can imagine the pages of the book falling open in between the knees as you go from one side to the other, softly, gently, with no hurry. Noticing how the contact through the feet changes from the inner edge to the sole of the foot to the outer edge of the foot, how both legs are moving independent of each other. So it doesn't look like this. That's both legs moving together. It looks like one starts, that's a sequential movement. The second movement follows. There's a moment when they're going together, and then they're not again. So one starts, the other follows. And just taking the time to make the movement so slow with the idea that the only reason that the bones of the legs are moving is because there is something outside the leg that's controlling it, namely the marionette string. Great. So the next time your knees are to the right, please stay there. Roll your head to the right. There your head and your knees are on the same side. Very, very slowly sensing the ground underneath your head, roll your head to the left. There's your nose opposite your knees. So go back and forth without any sense of urgency, no place to get to, no number of reps to complete. It's not that the more you do, the better, or the more reps you do. It's the quality that you're searching for. As you continue to let the head roll in the direction of the knees, and then opposite the direction of the knees. So do that 5 to 10 times. And then the next time that your knees and your nose are to the right, the nose and the knee, the left knee, are going to come back to center. And then the right leg is going to start moving as the head continues to roll to the left, along with the right knee moving to the left. And then you're going to stay here and move your knees to open and to close on this side with the head turned to the left, sensing when the knees are opposite and sensing when the knees are on the same side. Do that 5 or 10 times. Slowly sensing the weight across the pelvis. Make sure you have enough padding under yourself so that it's not uncomfortable. And the next time your knees are to the left, then you're going to bring everything to the center. Everything to the left. Everything to the center. Everything to the right. Slow, slow, slow. No place to get to. Moving at about the pace of lava. Or moving like hot fudge poured over chocolate. That viscous, slow, thick quality. Now there's one more step to the lesson, which is the next time your knees are and your head are to the right, would you please roll your head to the left? So this is the first time we're going to work in this lesson with the head and the knees on opposite sides of each other. So listen carefully and follow along. Begin to roll your head to the center as you begin to lift your left knee. Then let go and start back to the beginning. Then once again, lift the left knee towards the center as you roll the head towards the center and let go again. Now take it further this time. So your head lands in the middle when your knees land in the middle. Then you continue on to opposite sides, head to the right, knees to the left. And there you are in opposition again. Head and knees on opposite side of the midline. You begin the movement simultaneously. The head rolls towards the center as the right knee opens to the right. Everything arrives in center at the same moment. Then you continue on. This time the knees are moving towards the right as the head rolls to the left. And so slowly you begin to accommodate and learn and sense and taste this oppositional movement It's just complex enough to allow you to float in the unknown without any sense of needing to perfect or control or perform. No need to rush. It has a soothing pace to it. It's an easy back and forth movement, like a slow swing. And once you become very familiar with the movement, you don't necessarily need to go through the preliminary steps. So what I mean about having a tool in your pocket is that you'll just simply be able to get down on the floor, stretch out for a moment and sense how you are, and then dive right into this oppositional movement. Okay? So that's our first lesson in the series. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting my channel. And please subscribe if you haven't yet. Thanks.